Okay, just coming up to 10:35 a.m. Chicago time. Done for the day. 2 trades, 3.5 points. 1 break-even trade and 1 trade at 3.5 points. Came out too early, as usual. Couldn't stick to my profit target of 4 points, but not unhappy with the trade. Anyway, here's the sequence, the setup for it today. So 1500 tip bar chart. You can see yesterday we had this kind of slow grind up, which ended up with exhaustion buying and an end of trend signal, and then the Apple numbers kind of came out overnight. So this is the close on Tuesday. You can see the Apple numbers just caused a spike in the futures, all led by the amateurs. Rambo patterns up here. Bearish divergence kind of comes in, bang, we just sell off overnight. But the sequence for the setup for the long trade kind of this morning, pullback to end of trend. You can see there we got our exhaustion selling signal, and then the first bullish divergence signal here. Another bullish divergence, blue professional bar kind of comes in at the lows, and that's where I was initially kind of short, just because when we get exhaustion selling on the end of trend, sometimes you see a second cyclical turn after that end of trend is a better entry point. If that exhaustion selling signal had happened on this kind of shoulder here before the pullback to end of trend, and then you were seeing divergence patterns at the end of trend, then that would have been a high probability trade. So I was still trying to take a short trade, hoping that we'd see that kind of final sequence. We didn't, and as soon as we saw this blue professional bar kind of testing the lows and then the highs getting broken, bang, that was a signal to reverse and go long. So, and then kind of, got nicely in my favor, and then came all the way back down to the entry point. But after blue professional bars kind of initial taking profits here, no reason to kind of get out, just because we didn't see kind of a reversal signal here. We hadn't had exhaustion buying and so on, so that was just kind of a fairly deep retrace, and then headed back up, got taken out at well, 3.5. I couldn't hold to my 4, but it easily made the 4 to 8 3/4, and then we got the exhaustion selling buying signal up here, and effectively this move is being mirrored. The exhaustion selling that we get is being mirrored by the exhaustion buying that we get at the end of the sequence here. So, and it's just a question of kind of picking a low risk entry point after you see that, and then picking a decent profit target to get out at as we're coming into that exhaustion move. So, and then pull back to end of trend, this kind of sequence on the 1500 tip bar chart, the corresponding higher time frame tip bar chart, because trend moves in lower time frames are equivalent to cycle moves in higher time frames. The higher time frame is the 13,500 for the 1500, and you can see it was a cyclical support area here. Now we're coming into blue professional bars here, a whole bunch of them, 4500 tip bar chart, the 13,000. I think this is going to play out until we get that final kind of cyclical resistance there, but who knows from there. That could see a change in trend from then. We've still got the window still open for a change in trend coming up to 11 a.m. so we'll see. Anyway, I'm done for the day, but just thought I'd tack on that intro video. Get requests from time to time to be able to see the real-time trades I take. So yesterday I didn't put any on just because my trading was really scrappy, but today it was fairly neat and tidy, so I'll tag those on. Sorry if the video's too long though. Short 475. Short 1304.75, and a little bit of fireworks this morning. Sold off overnight into the 1316s and just been coming way off now. Pullback to end of trend's kind of gone off on the 1500 tip bar chart, but the exhaustion selling's happened at the end of trend, so we're at least going to make another kind of series of cyclical turns before this bottomed out, but we're on a downtrend on the 500 tip bar chart. So just went short at this pullback level. It's amateur bar just here. It's just waiting for a little bit of a better entry than kind of 1305 and so on, but didn't quite get it. So anyway, short 475. Bounced a little bit to 1306. Not kind of a pure pullback to end of trend. It's going to be a dirty one, but it's a blue professional bar going up. Just don't think this downtrend's over just because we've had our exhaustion selling. So coming down, just going to wait till we get a cyclical cross here on the 500 tip bar chart. I think it's going to come back in my favor. Blue professional bar here. So maybe the professional's using that as an opportunity to kind of get short. Let's wait and see. A minute later, and all of a sudden people went the other way. Just market kind of collapsed down here, going back into 1305, which is good. Down at 375s, blue professional bars kind of come in, kind of a little bit all over the place in terms of the cyclical support. It's not really holding. So let's see, that'll be an end of trend go off on the 500 tip bar chart. And we've had the exhaustion, it's dirty end of trend, we've had the exhaustion selling on this shoulder, so might kind of hold, but no blue professional bars kind of down here. Let's wait and see, might, yeah, okay, flush signal there, we've got blue professional bar here. Bounced up to 5 3/4 again, but this time amateur up bar. Potentially this is a bullish divergence kind of setting up on the 1500 tip bar chart, and look at the 13,500, we've got cyclical support kind of coming in. So potentially it is actually trying to find a bottom right here. But it's not gone off yet, and need a little bit more confirmation on the 500 tip bar chart. Kind of amateur down bars, or blue professional bars into these lows. So it's going back down again to entry points. There we go, bullish divergence did go off, so that's pretty important. But because it went off here on the end of trend, usually looking for second cyclical turns, so we'll just try and find some wide ranges, I think. So let's see, still holding short, hoping for a little bit. Here we go, the cyclical energy is just switching on the 1500 tip bar chart, so we're coming up to this resistance kind of point. So hopefully now we'll kind of keep on flushing down. There wasn't enough on the 500 tip bar chart. Just looking at this because it's just thinking about this 1304 level here. We've had this whole pattern, pullback dirty end of trend on a flush is really good, but no blue professional bars kind of coming in to pick it up. Okay, an amateur down bar here. Let's see if that ends up being amateur down bar on 15. Okay, we're sitting on a little bit of a knife edge here. Blue professional bars just coming on 500 tip bar chart. And at 1304, if we kind of get way, we'll get into another trend move on the way down. So let's see, but if it goes to 475, I might. Oh no, here it goes. 475 I was thinking about, well, maybe time to reverse and go long, but no. Blue professional bar just come through support, so it's falling through the ice. Kind of seemingly held, so as soon as we went to a double bottom there, it kind of came back. Let's see, we're below support on the 15 and 45, so in downtrends, but we got this cyclical support kind of due here. First went long 475. So just checking my stops and targets here. Break even trade on that short, the first one. Reason for getting long on this spike down to kind of double bottom here. Blue professional bar coming on the 1500 tip bar chart. One on the way down here, then it held on the 500, and now we've broken above the high of that. So we've had our exhaustion selling and our bullish divergence signal. So looks like this is going to hold, but don't think we're going to crack into a full-on uptrend until we see the next cyclical sequence in a second cyclical turn after end of trend. So let's see where this goes up until we get a cyclical cross on the 1500 tip bar chart. Okay, cyclical resistance 500 tip bar chart, little amateur down bar here. That's not so bad. Let's just see, could be just a little testing down bar, and kind of break away into a trend above. Seemingly, yeah, so it's okay. Be nice to get one of those on the 1500 tip bar chart kind of early on in this sequence. So let's see. Just broken up to 1306. We found a little bit of weakness here with the Rambo pattern. Coming into cyclical resistance here, so broken above support on 500. If this kind of races away, that'd be nice, but at some point we're going to find some weakness and kind of make that last kind of cyclical turn down. So let's wait and see. Okay, a couple of minutes later, we're up at 1306 again, and cyclical resistance going on the 500 tip bar chart, but with nothing else. So there's no kind of blue professional bars kind of stepped in here. So this could turn into a little breakaway move on the 500. So here's hoping targets at 875, 6 1/4. That's kind of good. I'm just conscious that this is there, and we've got to, at some point, kind of make another pass back down. Well, rainbow pattern at 6 1/2 kind of came, and we sold off pretty hard. Blue professional bars kind of come in. Nothing on 15 yet. I suppose I'm willing to sit through a little bit of a retrace to get that cyclical turn. Unless we're breaking down to 4 1/2 with that last blue professional bar, still feel inclined to stick with it. But I think we're gonna continue on up just because we've seen nothing here. So let's wait and see. Oh, breaking up to 1307. And no blue professional bars at the highs yet, or exhaustion signal on the 500. This is a trend move now, so I'm looking for a pullback to end of trend on the 500 testing bar. So tempted to move my target at 775 and kind of be out on a little bit of a rush. Okay, blue professional bar kind of coming in at 7 1/2. And there's a little bit of a spike. There we go, blue professional bar here. Okay, 3,000 on better momentum. Let's see if we can get a final push up, but it's just got to finesse this getting out now. My target to 775. Just because this looks like a little bit of a blow-off move before kind of coming back down and testing. So here's hoping we'll get to that. Blue professional bar, another one on 500. Okay, just need another little kick up. We're only at 4,000 on better momentum. Probably should be waiting for much bigger reading to get out, but it just seems like a little bit of a blow-off move. And bullish divergence, just blue professional bar on 45 kind of come in. Gonna get some kind of cyclical resistance at some point, so let's see. Okay, just had a small retracement, amateur down bars into pullback in an uptrend on the 500 tip bar chart. Coming up to this cyclical resistance here, blue professional bar kind of coming, and I know we're gonna need to make some kind of another cyclical support on 15, so just waiting for a little bit of a blow-off move, pullback to end of trend, and exhaustion buying. We've not seen it yet on the 500 tip bar chart, so I think we're going to see that first. Well, had a rainbow pattern into this pullback support. 5 1/2 just got hits. I know I've got to, we've got to make this kind of last kind of cyclical push down on the 1500 tip bar chart properly, kind of form this bottom, and it's just so nice to get a kind of a blow-off move and to come down with amateur bar kind of down here and then have a proper rally. But it's finding it really difficult to get through 1307. Don't want to jump out, but this will be pullback to end of trend, which will be coinciding with cyclical resistance on 45. And for a decent uptrend, we need this to be tested properly. And this looks like just the first blush. But we've not seen blow-off activity on the even on the 500 tip bar chart. So here we go, coming back down. So looks like I just got to sit through this little retrace and hopefully prove this uptrend and kind of keep the rally going. Well, we kind of bounced off this flush signal. Blue professional bar kind of coming on this retrace. Bullish flush signal kind of comes in. We're going back to make a dirty end of trend kind of up here, but it's kind of amateur up bar, just coming back into congestion. It's not particularly convincing. We've had cyclical resistance coming on the 4500 tip bar chart, amateur up bar on 15. I'm just wondering if it needs to make another kind of pass back down to to test the lows. Not seeing a decent amateur down bar, which I'd like to see before the move is over, but let's see at least. Not going to jump out too early. Just wait and see when we get the cyclical cross. Okay, back up at 675 now. It looks like it's kind of winding up for a breakout move. And I had adjusted my target to 775, and I'm going to move it back up to 875. So let's see. We've got we're playing off this flush signal here, blue professional bar at the high there. Hoping that, yep, that might be jumping the creek, kind of buying into another breakout into a trend move. We had cyclical support now coming on the 1500 tip bar chart. Not had our exhaustion buying, so fingers crossed. Well, a bunch of blue professional bars at 7.5 kind of come in. One on the 15. And it's double top here. Market doesn't like exact tops like that. One will be kind of higher than the other, so high likelihood that'll get kind of taken out. So it's just settling a little bit. We've still not had exhaustion buying on the upside, so this isn't going to be over until we see that. 875, I mean, wishing now, well, not wishing now, but you know, the target was at 775. It'd be nice to have been out. A little bit of a rush to 775, but I'm going to have to stick with it. There'll be a bunch of stops kind of to be run. So just have to hold on. This little retrace, blue professional bars kind of stepped in. We're at 7.5, just been the previous high. So let's rush it. Get up to 8.75, please. No exhaustion buying yet on 500 or 1500. So I think it's still possible to make this. Well, we're at 775, just itching, you know, with this kind of pattern to have a final kind of blow-off move. No exhaustion buying yet, so still think it's there. We've got a cyclical turn kind of due on 1500, so if we get the 875, I'll be very happy. So just waiting. Move my target to 825, so crap at entries. Just saw it hit 850s and just didn't want to pop up to 9 and be taken out. So all these blue professional bars kind of coming at the highs here. Don't want to sit through any more of a retrace. So here's hoping. Start at 8.25 for 3.5, and there we go. I was going to go to 875, of course. I'm so crap at exits. Just I hate sitting through this little bit of a retrace here. But we haven't seen exhaustion buying. 500 tip bar chart. We haven't seen like an 8,000 reasoning on 1500. So I'd just be rather out with 3.5 than kind of sit through another kind of retrace trying to get that extra half point. Anyway, that's just me. And a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming at the highs here, 1500, 4500, bang, bang, bang. So 2 trades, 3.5 points, break-even trade to start with, and then kind of got into this long one. So it's not a classic, kind of set up from bullish divergence after end of trend on this blue professional bar when that kind of testing down bar got kind of broken to the highs, kind of took off. So there we go. And was it 10.13? So yeah, definitely done for the day. Well, as usual, the 875 got hit on this little last push up to 9, and there's the first exhaustion buying signal on better momentum. So you know, all of this has been set off after the open. Exhaustion buying, bullish divergence, flush pattern here right at the lows, test back in, blue professional bars, bang, kind of head off in the rally. This test down was a flush pattern, flushing out those sellers. Then we head to our exhaustion buying signal. So the thing's not over until we get divergence patterns really on 1500. It's interesting, we've not had that exhaustion kind of signal, pro signal exit on 15 yet, but it's out there, so let's see. Okay, well there we go. Pro signal exit's just gone off. So if you could have held 1309, was it possible there? Which just goes to show the original target at 875 would have just been a quarter point greater than that. You'd have got out on the way up using a target rather than kind of getting in, taking your profits kind of after a signal. But a little bit more than the 825 I kind of pulled out, but that's just me. So there we go, second exhaustion signal on the 500, and there's pro signal exit on 15, which blue professional bars into exhaustion buy. You can see all these blue professional bars kind of lining up. That 13,500 tip bar chart support kind of held at those lows, which is kind of interesting, which is kind of coinciding with the end of trend on the 1500 tip bar chart. So that's what that was kind of playing off. So I'm done for the day, but it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of turns out, because we had the Apple numbers overnight and the market kind of flipped up to 16, but it just sold off the whole evening. So 1304 is kind of held down here. We're back in the zone here where people were seemingly finding it difficult to kind of get through, so they're taking this opportunity to get profits and get short. Not too clear on that. I think we have to wait for that 13,500 to kind of play out here and see what happens. Get a blue professional bar as this kind of heads into the highs, then it'll likely roll. Anyway, enough said. It's probably going to be a long video anyway, so I hope you traded well today.